Me and my ex, I hate saying that, um, we had lunch today at P.F. Chang's, which I was kind of just craving dumplings. But I know he really likes the place. I know that he likes the food. And I was craving it as well. I kind of wanted Chinese. I mentioned panda, but then I'm like, he doesn't like panda. I don't really like panda's orange chicken or any else, but I really wanted dumplings. So I ate a couple dumplings, and I didn't really eat the rest of what we got. I feel, I really have mixed emotions about that lunch. And he, it just seemed very awkward. And that's an understandable kind of emotion, especially with everything that's happened. But at the same time, it felt very familiar. We kept making comments that everything feels the same, but at the same time, we realized that everything is different and everything has changed. And I don't think he understands how rare that is for people. It's that feeling is really unique with people. It's very different with people. Um, Maybe he doesn't love me now, which that would really hurt. He says care. Um, I would argue that you can't really care about someone without having love for them. Oh gosh, I sneezed. I don't want that in the video. Oh well. It's extremely difficult for me to see him. And if I touch him, I can see that he kind of tenses up and gets uncomfortable, and that's difficult for me as well. Um, I spent half the relationship feeling like a disease to him, so I don't want to spend, yeah, um, yeah. And then, he doesn't think I'm changed. Um, he doesn't think what we had was special enough to try and work things out, which sucks. Um, But I think it's also the timeline that he's in. Some people make decisions on the situations around them. And I think this is quite evident what's happening. He's called me emotionally abusive, which abusive to me, that's a horrible word to use. And it's a horrible thing to say to someone. Um, was I? I'll just accept it. If he felt that I was emotionally abusive, then I accept that I was emotionally an abusive person. Um, at the car dealership when we rented the car, I would say, yeah, that was a verbally abusive. Emotionally, I guess so, because you feel the words burn you. And I would always make snide comments. Was he emotionally abusive to me? Uh, I would say, if he views that me being emotionally abusive to him, can I view him doing things to me emotionally abusive? Is, cheating, is that emotionally abusive? Yeah, I'd say so. Um, which is fine. I really forgive. I really am. The table's clean. Um, it's extremely difficult to hear him say, he said, well, you'll find someone new. And he doesn't quite grasp the idea of, how valuable he is to me. That comment said a lot more to me about how he thinks I look at him than the way he looks at me. Because I kept saying, there's not another Kyle out there. There isn't another Michael out there either. And that's something that's difficult to understand in a bigger sense. in a shorter sense, when someone says it, it's like, oh yeah, well that's true. But then you start thinking about it and you go, oh crap, that is true. Um, I felt wonderful though that we can have lunch and giggle here and there. And I just wanted to talk about the relationship and what happened just because I needed that kind of closure to it. I'm still devastated. I really still am. Like I told him, I think we both should have said something and say, look, the way you're treating me is not okay and I'll leave. I think that would have changed something dramatically. But there's really no point looking in the past now. We want to remember good times, and that's fine. But good times, thinking of good times makes me miss him terribly. Um, the thought of him moving scares me terribly as well. Um, this was a person that was in my life 24/7, on my mind 24/7. Even when I would shut down, I would always, I would then blame myself for shutting down. I blame myself for the cheating. I blame myself for a lot. And I know he's young. Um, he's always had someone to guide him, I guess. Um, and it sucks that I hear him talk so independently, and I can't see him grow. I can't be with him while he grows, and that really hurts. Another thing, I said, I told him, if you asked me an hour before you went to Idaho to come with you, I would, and he seemed like he didn't believe me at all, and that's that kind of hurt because I'm not gonna lie anymore. There's no point. Um, you know, I I I think he doesn't understand sometimes. He's a very he doesn't always understand why I did the things I did, um, which is fine. People don't understand. He I wish that he believed me when I said if you told me to go move to Idaho with you, I'd be there in an instant. Um, because I still think he doesn't think I care enough about him or even love him when I say I love him. Um, he also, it was also kind of difficult to hear about, him moving. That was incredibly difficult to me because there's a kind of a relief to his voice when he's talking about moving. And I know he doesn't like the state. I know that he probably doesn't like, having me on his mind. Um, and that's understandable, you know. I asked him, would he take meeting me back? And he says sometimes yes, sometimes no. The difference between that and me is I would never take that back. Never. Even with today's outcome, tomorrow's outcome, yesterday's outcome, I would never erase that timeline because I'm glad that he's still in my life, kind of extended. We're kind of good as exes right now. Um, we talked about the car, dropping off the some legal paperwork tomorrow regarding the Honda that we leased together. Um, it sucks. It really sucks because it was just difficult. And I kept asking him I could see that he was trying to distract himself. He didn't look at me a lot either. And I understand it was awkward. I didn't expect it to be, smooth, especially because this is actually the first time that we're kind of talking. And it was just, it was extremely difficult for me because I don't want to rely on the past. I just want him to know that I love him. I want to know that I'm loved in return, because, he said, like, oh, things were going downhill a long time ago, and I just kept thinking, like, why didn't you say something? Well, things wouldn't have changed. That's probably what he was thinking. Or maybe, because to me it's so weird, because Saturday before Mother's Day and Sunday night, he just kept, I love you, I love you. And I, would always giggle when he would do that, just because I liked hearing him say it. And then Monday came around, and he thought about it Monday, he said, which I believe he did. And then, the breakup happened Monday, the day after Mother's Day, the day before his birthday. Um, when that first happened, I viewed it as just he was doing it as out of pure anger. Um, I hope he doesn't. I think he still does hold anger towards me. I think it's very obvious, which is understandable. You know, I, it was difficult to see him today. I'm mumbling all over the place because I mumble. When I write, everything could be clear, but when I talk, especially to myself, I mumble because my thoughts are going all over the place. You know, uh, it's just hard. It's gonna be hard for a while. It's like, oh, well, you'll find someone new, and it kind of devalues him in my eyes. Um, and it devalues, I think, what we had. I will keep saying this, and I've said it to people. What we had was extremely special and unique, and we both went through a lot of crap in a short amount of time, and I mean a lot of crap. Um, from he came in my life when my mom passed away. That is a huge scar on somebody. Huge. And a lot of people will say, oh, I understand, my grandpa died. But if you haven't lost your mom, you don't understand completely. You know, um, I think I did try to a certain extent. I didn't try as hard as I could, especially later on, to try and make him feel special and happy. Just because things started getting really colluded to me. The diagnosis and everything was kind of extremely upsetting. Um, and I just shut down. He shut down too. We had good time. We did have good times during this, but we both shut down, which is understandable. He's stressed out about me health wise. I'm stressed out about him, and if something happens, will he be able to deal with it, or is he going to hurt himself if something happens? These are all the thoughts going through my mind. And I started pulling myself back. He said, "You're pushing me away." I remember him saying that. "You're pushing me away." And I was. I was pushing him away. Because if I make him hate me and I die, I know he's not going to hurt himself. He'll say good riddance. And for someone that you care about, you don't want them to hurt themselves or drink or do drugs or, you know, you don't want any of that. I'll never take back anything I can't take back anything I said. I can't take back anything I've done. Um, Neither can he. And I think we've both come to terms regarding our past. And, he just says, he kept saying it's sad. I'm like, yeah, it is. And anytime we'd start talking about it, he'd look away and start fidgeting and saying that he's thinking about something else, when the entire time I know he's thinking this is awkward. I just want it to end, kind of. Which is, if he just told me that, it'd been, okay. And like when we're when I was walking him to his car, um, it was just, he's like, oh, well, it's sad, and he just kept fidgeting because he just didn't want to be in that situation anymore. He said he felt like he wanted to run away, which is understandable. I wanted to freaking want to run away too. It's not easy seeing him. It's not. It makes me feel better in the moment, and then it's a horrible feeling when we take two cars and go away. It's like I think he's content with the relationship being ended because he views it as freedom, and that's fine. You know, he's 18, young adults, teenagers are all about freedom. Us old people, we want loyalty and commitment, and he'll start feeling that later on in his life again. And I don't hope, you know, I hope that he can find happiness. I know I won't find another Kyle. That sucks. Um, I would move to Idaho in a second. If he said get in the truck or get in the plane or get in your fucking bike, we're going to Idaho, I'd do it. I really would do it. You know, I love him. I'll work my ass off to make him proud of me. Proud of me. Um, but I think he's viewing Idaho as a new start, a fresh start. And that's great. You know, but I know as soon as he moves to Idaho and the car issue is resolved, he's probably not going to have me in his life anymore. Because it probably won't be easy at a certain time. Like, I want him, I don't want him to go, but it'll be easier when I don't have to worry about bumping into him with someone else. You know, it's just like I went to a gay bar and there were so many attractive people. One even offered to buy me a mojito because mine was empty. And I just couldn't because I still feel loyal, which is a strange feeling to have. I've been through many relationships in my life. When I was younger, they were nothing serious. They were just fuck buddies at that point. And then you get tired of that after a while. You really do get tired of that. You want to kind of have someone you can rely on, depend on. And then, you know, I met Taylor. We were together for, let's round it up, for 3 years. He cheated on me. I left him. Kyle cheated on me. I stayed with him. I still love him. I forgive him. You know, we could either go down the road of having nothing, having a friendship, or him realizing or saying, look, maybe we both didn't try. Maybe we should try. And I wish that maybe he would just spend, you know, a full day with me, and we can go do something, just to see if he still has that spark for me. It's extremely difficult to think that he doesn't care for me the way I care for him, and that, you know, he's set on Idaho, and I don't mind. I really don't. I just wish he would say, you know, you know what? We'll give a chance, but you have to prove to me by getting it in the trunk, going to Idaho, you're going to get a job. We're going to get an apartment, but it's going to be in my name, and I mean Kyle's name. I'm talking as Kyle. I have the power. And if things don't work out, you're gone. You know, that's more of an honest and sincere second chance than saying, oh, well, I forgive you, yada, yada, yada. And we've given each other second chances. But instead of giving a chance that implies something bad happened, we just need to start clean. And maybe starting clean won't work out, but starting clean, starting in a vulnerable position, you'll be amazed how many times people can change. I'm seeing the world through different eyes now. I'm seeing the people that are in it. You know, and I could hear his parents' talking points sometimes when he's talking, or his friends' talking points. And the talking points sometimes you say to yourself to make yourself feel better with the situation, or you try to control the narrative so the story makes sense to you, and you start looking for flaws in the past to try and justify your actions. And I see that when he talks. And also, he views everything I'm doing as a mind game almost, and that really hurts because here I am being the most sincere person to him, and he thinks I want to keep him around for mind games. You know, that sucks. That's a sucky feeling to think that, you know, all the fucking shit I've been through, that we've been through, and yet he still thinks I'm playing games with him. You know, that sucks really bad. I I would love it if I woke up one morning and there's a text from him saying, you know, Idaho, here we come, or second chance granted. Actually, I don't want a second chance. I just want a clean slate. Say, I want to burn the old Michael and the old Kyle in a great fire, and out of it emerge us, you know, new people, understanding each other's suffering and pain. Kyle has issues. He's impulsive. He's extremely needy and demanding. He's bossy. He runs away when things get kind of tough, and that's fine. I get extremely passive aggressive. I'm bossy myself. Instead of running away, like physically walking out or something, I shut down. So we both ran away in our own ways, and you know, I believe if you think for an ounce that what we had was special and unique, then giving up is not the way to go. You know, that's, you know, when I'm listening to other people, oh, we've been together for 13 years, we've been together for 10 years, we've been together for 19 years, you know, that really hurts. You know, I think he cares about me. He tells me he does, which is nice. But also the way that he says, you know, oh, you'll move on eventually. Oh, that's in the past. Like, it's so easy. And then I'll question him and he'll say, you know, that's sad, or I don't want to think about it. You know, I found out he watched a video that I made here on YouTube. You know, he watched that video of a little slideshow with photos. And, you know, that was just me publicly grieving. And he finds it through my ex, of course, who just harasses me endlessly. Um, you know, I think maybe the pressures of everything is getting to him. Me not treating him right got to him. The fear of me leaving him while his parents were in Idaho. It's fine that he doesn't want to leave it's perfectly understandable, and I don't blame him a second for that. But I just want an opportunity to prove to him. I want to prove to him how special he is to me and how unique we are for each other. Um, but he doesn't even want that anymore, which that hurts. You know, my family loves him. They still do. Um, I know his family didn't really, they were off and on about me, which is understandable. I didn't spend much time with them. But, they like talking to me, I like talking to them, so I'm not, nothing ill said. I'm just nervous about his future because I still care for him. He told me, I asked him, because he said he went to the pier, and I believe him now. He went to the pier and he sat in his car. I said, why didn't you come down? He's like, I was, second guessing everything. And I said, well, were you scared that you would reverse your decision? And he said, yeah. That was like, my heart dropped completely. And then he said that, oh, this letter is just playing with me, and I didn't quite understand why he thought that a letter would. My intentions. That's why I keep telling him, it's okay to move to Idaho. Don't. If I was playing with him, I would have. If you have to play for someone at this point, then the relationship wasn't sane from the very, very beginning. I I would have loved to see him at that pier that day. That was extremely emotional for me. Um, I would have loved a clean slate. I still want that clean slate to prove to him how special he is. I'm not saying he has to fall in love with me again if he doesn't love me. I'm not asking for commitment, saying, oh, well, if we, I'm just asking for a date or two before he goes bye-bye for a long time. He doesn't even seem like he wants to move to Oregon, and that was what we planned to. I'm like, you want to stay in Idaho? Yeah. And that's fine. I told him wherever he wants to go, I'll go. He said the same thing for me. I think it was a lot of things pushed us. Me, it was my own demons with the fact of not trusting him. And for him, it was, well, I don't really know. I know I was mean. He was mean too. The difference is, I'm willing to try still. He's not. And I asked him, do you still have doubts? Do you still second guess yourself sometimes? He said, yeah. And I hope that when he second guesses himself, he thinks that I was unique. That out of all the bad times, we had a lot more good ones. That we experienced things together that people don't experience. And that all that heartache, pain, and suffering is something that we both shared, is actually something beautiful, and it makes the relationship stronger down the line. To say, hey, look, we've been through this, we can handle this. Um, I love him. I do anything for him, and I tell him that. But I think he doesn't believe me when I say it. Nor do I think he he understands right now what commitment is. Because we started dating when he was 16. I was his first serious relationship. I wish I was his only serious relationship. I'm getting better physically. Emotionally, but physically, I'm getting better. I'm losing weight. I'm walking. I'm eating right. I'm going to the gym. It's all great. If, you know, if he says, look, I'll give you a dinner and, a date, fine. I'll greatly appreciate it. but it seems like it seems like, he's content with his decision. And I don't know how to tell him that I'd go to Idaho for him. I I'll let him I'll put his name on my car. I'll give him all the power that he wants just to prove to him that I'm changed. Because I think if he starts believing I've changed, which I have, he he might just, I don't know, change himself and say, "Look, this person that was so important to me, I just can't have him evaporate out of my life like that." He's like, "Oh, don't worry, I'll give you my number when I'm in Idaho." It's like, I don't want a number. Like, I want my best friend. I want someone where we could watch stupid car movies with, even though they were stupid. You know, I have all our old photos and shit in a box. It's just so difficult. I really do love him. I don't think he understands what love means yet. I think a lot of it was, all the tears that we shed, all the shit that we've been through. You have to love someone after that, after going through all of that. You stay around because you love them. And you shouldn't expect things to get easier if you don't communicate with the other person what's bothering you or what's wrong. If you don't communicate that, things won't get easy. But you shoulda, coulda, woulda. I'd get on a plane for him. I have by myself, but I mean, to Idaho, I'll drive Pumpkin to Idaho. I'll live in that potato state just to prove to him, because I think, in all actuality, I haven't proved to him how much he means to me in a while. And, it's just hard. It's really hard, actually. I'll do anything. I keep saying that, and I think it just goes over his head. If he said, "You're coming to Idaho," I'll do it. I can make a good future for him and me. He'd like to finish school, he said. That's fine. I still need to finish mine. Um, I just, I just want I just want a clean slate, super clean slate. Like, everything is now out in the open. Everything. And it's difficult. Because he's not even willing to have that clean slate. And I hope he thinks of it in the long-term sense too, when he thinks about finding someone new. When he looks at other people, does he think about me like I do with him? Like, everything that I think of that makes me happy now, every kind of visualization and, you know, his goofiness, his silliness, his laughter, that's all the stuff I want in someone, and here he is. Maybe he likes the brains and the silliness and the laughter and the craziness. Maybe that's me. I put a ring on his finger for a reason. that wasn't a mind game, that wasn't a trick. You know, I put it on his finger to say, hey, look, things will get bad, things could get good, and I'm not going anywhere. And I was kind of hoping that he would put a ring on my finger one day. And he didn't have the money, which is fine. I never liked him for the money. I didn't like him for his body. I didn't like him for any of that stupid, silly shit that teenagers like each other for. I liked him because he could make me laugh, because he could hug me when I cry, because sometimes we can have the most deep conversations. I don't want a chance. I want a clean slate. Because he's the only person that could give me that clean slate. You know, I just wish he would tell me when he was having second doubts what he wanted. I'm perfectly fine eating spinach and chicken the rest of my life to get that good body that I used to have. I'm fine with having my phone out, and if I'm in the shower, him looking at it. Whatever works to work it. I'm super proud that he already has an interview. Super proud. I'm also extremely proud that he mentioned his education, because maybe that's something he learned from me. Maybe? I would hope so, because he knows education is important to me. And maybe my influence kind of wore off on that. I'd like to think that, but you don't know. Um, he's still in the will for a reason as well. Because maybe if I do happen to go for some crazy exotic reason, he'll be taken care of. And his life will be a little easier. So it's kind of like I go and then I'm kind of taking care of him at that point. Maybe he'll hate me saying that like that, and I don't mean it to be like, aha, so you can't do anything on your own. And I don't mean it like that. I just mean, I care for him so much. I want him to be safe and secure. Um, you know, I don't want to throw away a year and a half over things that could be worked on. And I think this whole breakup was like a slap in my face. I keep saying that, and I have to keep saying it because it's like a big visualization for me. Um, I wish things all the time. I pray for things now, and it's for him. I pray for Kyle to come back into my life. I pray for him to forgive me. I pray for him to say, let's work it. Let's start fresh. Let's start new. He doesn't have to move in. He doesn't have to start saying I love you. He doesn't have to wear the ring. He doesn't have to do any of that. We can start fresh. We can light the spark back. But I think with his mind on school, on Idaho, on the future that he's already building up in his head, even though that situation isn't planned out yet, it does show a little impulse. But in this situation, do you blame him? No. You kind of, especially when you're sad, you kind of want to talk yourself up and say, well, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. You want to distract yourself with those thoughts. I'm also just concerned because Idaho is not a friendly state at all. It has some of the highest hate crime statistics in the country. Highest state crime. The idea of him being hit by a baseball bat and left on a fence somewhere, that really destroys me. I found out that my ex threatened his life today. The first thing I wanted to do was just strangle him. See, I just called Taylor my ex, and I didn't even call Kyle my ex. See, that's hard. I would have loved just that Monday for him just to talk to me because he said he was still thinking if he should or not. And I would have been fine if he said, I'm moving to Idaho, period. And I would have said, okay, I'm coming too. I'm also, I'm just so hopeful that, just say 5 years from now, I just get a call from him saying, Michael, I miss you. But I know that's not going to be the case because he'll just forget. I'm just going to be something to forget about. Or maybe, maybe he'll think of me once in a while when he sees an orange car, you know. And I hope that that people aren't talking to him to say, you made the right decision. I hope it's coming from him. When I told my sister and Jill and Kevin and everyone else, they're like, why? I'm like, well, say I don't really want to go into it. Or I would say, a lot of shit happened at the same time. Well, near the same time that just caused everything to happen. I still want to do his English homework because it was like an opportunity to show off my skill. It sucks because I just want him back in my life. And I'm not saying I want what we had because what we had didn't work. What I want is something new. Something, I hope he thinks that what we had was special. And if he thinks that was special, then what do you think is different? He also thinks that I didn't have not changed. I disagree. I'm more emotional now. I'm more I let things blow away when someone makes a stupid comment or I'm more giggly. I'm not as dreadful as I was. I treated him like shit. Sometimes he would say or do things and it would just agitate me immensely just because or he would say things a certain way, but I took it as an offense when I shouldn't have. But there's no point going in the back and saying, oh, I wish. It's either no or clean slate. And I wish he would just say clean slate because because I care for him. I love him. I want that clean slate. He leaves soon. Really soon. And don't want to show that. And I can't give up. And I think I've been really lax on trying because as soon as I wrote the letter and it was at that time I felt ignored, then why try for someone who has given up on you? And I know he's thinking to himself maybe he's better off. And maybe that's true. But, I would work hard for him. I would live in Idaho for him. And maybe he's just telling himself that he never really loved me. It was just young love. It was just blah, blah, blah. What people tell each other to make themselves feel better with the situation, which happens all the time. Maybe when he starts having those second doubts, those second thoughts that he says he does, maybe he lets the anger overpower him and say, well, he did this, he did this, he did this. And that's the wrong way to go around having true thought of a clear mind. It's, he should be asking himself, have I changed? Do I think what we had was unique and special? Do you think, did he make me happy? That one's a tough one. Do you think, I don't want to baby him, I don't want to take care of him, but I want to be there taking care of each other. He showed me the car that he's buying. It's almost 10 years old. And the first thing that pops in my head is, here we go again. And I don't mean to say that sarcastically or mean or anything, but there's no guarantees. There isn't. I love him. I'd do anything for him. I would skydive naked. I just thought of that for some reason. I would give him the big TV up on my wall. I'd give to him the Christmas lights that he hung up himself. I'd give him this computer. I would also give him my loyalty, my commitment. I'd make him earn my trust. I just want a clean slate. I have my second doubts sometimes if Kyle was good for me or not. But every time I think that way, I think of the connection that we have, which we even displayed today still. We still have a connection because I've been through at least 4 or 5 serious relationships, and I have not experienced what I experienced with Kyle. I've had relationships where I'm just physically attracted to people or attracted to money or whatever. But with Kyle, he didn't offer the money. He didn't offer the super, super amazing body, and I don't care about that stuff. I don't care about the money or the body or the sex now. I care about him and his well-being and his happiness, and I just hope he honestly thinks about it again. I love him. He knows that. I keep saying it. I hope he never watches any of these videos ever again. What I had with Kyle was special. It was unique. It was vibrant. You can't live life running away. Life is a roller coaster. You'll have lots of ups and downs. Relationships are like roller coasters. You start at the station where it's all smooth. Oh, things are going well. And then things start going crazy really quick. You can go upside down, side to side, topsy-turvy. But if you stay seated and grounded and in the secure fasten of commitment and loyalty, you'll go back to that smooth station. And that's what I kind of want to tell him. It's what I want him to kind of think about. And I just hope that maybe he'd give me that clean slate. And I'd gladly I actually already have given him a clean slate. I feel like I'm proving myself by going out on the limb and dealing with my attorney and, stuff like that. Just because I think You know, the old me would have taken the car. The old me would have wanted that war that he talked about with the car. Because I know I could have called Taylor up in an instant, fake cried to him, and it would have been done. Done in a heartbeat. But the new me, the me with the clouds removed from my sight, it it longs for him. It longs for protection. It longs for commitment and honesty now. It longs for a lot. But I'm not going to let anger overtake me anymore. Sadness, yes, that will overtake me, but anger, I'm not going to be this passive aggressive pig of a person. I'm not. Okay, well, I just want a clean slate. That should have been a 20-second video that turned into a 51:16 video. Just want a clean slate. Sometimes that's the hardest thing you'll ever have to give a person. Sometimes our parents are cruel, but we still love them even though they fail us every day. Even though they're cold and bitter and angry, you still love them every day. And I hope Kyle doesn't think I'm replaceable. I still have the scars that he put on my face that I have to look at every day and say, wow. You know, I would take another slap or scar to the face just to remind myself that he's in my life. I love him. What can I say? How complicated is that? Just saying I love you. But the complication happens when you say it and you don't mean it. Or you say it with certain kind of, like, I love you, like I used to. Like I used to have to, he used to force it out of me. And that sucks. That must have made him feel really great. I'm being sarcastic. But the idea of a clean slate is you forget the past. You say, look, dear, or hun, or whatever you want to say. We have both failed each other, some more than others. We have both hurt each other. We've hurt some more than the other person. But what we had was special and unique and different. And let's have a clean slate. Let's not go from 0 to 10. Let's go to 0 to 1. Let's not have that jump of commitment. Let's earn that commitment again. Let's earn that spark. And that's the sucky part. Because I love him, but he doesn't want to do that. Or maybe he does, but his idea of what his future is preventing him from that. I just wish for that clean slate. You know, I don't want him to move to Idaho and then regret that I'm not in his life anymore, in both the physical and emotional sense. I don't want to just randomly text about how's your day at work, shit like that. I want deep, meaningful conversations. You know, and what happens when someone comes in my life? If someone comes in my life and he's in Idaho at that point, how will he react to that? How will I react when someone comes in his life? Big questions there. You know, I tried doing the let's forget him, let's get drunk, let's fuck people kind of mentality, but it didn't work. You know, I just thought I would rather honestly be home right now with his snoring ass next to me than having all these young guys walking around in thongs. It just didn't do anything for me. we can try and keep ourselves from thinking about it by trying to have fun with friends and going out and getting sunburned at the beach and yada yada yada. But we have to think about it, and we're gonna have to deal with it. And I just wish he would say, Michael, we need to have a talk. Or just text me and just say, clean slate, please. I would love to eventually put a ring on his finger again to show commitment and honesty. But, things happen. And don't say for a reason. Things don't happen for reasons. Things happen because people let them happen. Because people give up. Because people run away. I almost gave up fighting my cancer. Because I was scared, I was frightened, I was in a dark place. But life is about fighting. Life is about moving. Not moving on. Life is about moving. If you can move on from something, then didn't mean anything to you in the first place. I just want a clean slate. That's what I prayed to God for every night, even though I don't really believe in him. I just want to have that tickle fights and those laughter again, that laughter. I just want to do my stupid Shannon laugh. I just want a clean slate to say, hey, look, everything's washed away. Let's, maybe go on a couple dates. You stay at your place, I'll stay at mine. You can move to Idaho, that's fine. Maybe, I can get my own place up there and we can continue to date that way for a little bit until maybe things get better, spark ignites. And I'd be perfectly fine doing that. I'd perfectly fine risking that. Because life is more about risks than about choices. Everyone makes choices, very few people take risks. Because risks can blow up in your face, or they can create a beautiful chaos of, I'm mumbling now. I just want him back. And I think I haven't bothered him with it, really. Well, I would hope he doesn't think I'm bothering him with it. I love him deeply, extremely deeply. And if he said, look, we need a date, or we just need to, slowly date again, I'd be okay with it. Just because I know that at least, he was giving me an honest and true chance. And I was giving him an honest and true chance. We never gave each other true chances. Ever. But that's okay. I love him now. I'll love him tomorrow. I'll love him years from now. I'll wonder if he's safe, if he's happy, if he's secure. That's what I want. I want him happy, safe, and secure. I just want him to think on his own. Just like I've thought on my own. People tried to undersell him and just say, well, he was just a kid wanting money and stuff. And I disagree with that. I didn't like that assessment. They were trying to say it to reinforce an idea. And I hope he doesn't have people telling them, reinforcing his idea. I just want him to think on his own. He's 18 now. He can think for himself. And maybe he thinks what the future would be like, and that's fine. That's fine to think about what you think your future will be like. But I know my future will be very, very different without him in my life. I'm going to lose a lot of the laughter, a lot of the farting sounds, and, a lot of that. I just want that clean slate, that second chance. Actually, I don't want a second chance. I want a clean slate. And it's okay to try and fail. It's not okay to give up. I'll love him. He cares about me, and that's fine. Maybe I need to make him love me again. And how do I do that? By being me. By being me, the guy that he first started dating. And maybe he's worried, you know, like when he was at the pier, maybe he was worried if he got back with me, his parents would, oh, here we go again, kind of a thing. Or maybe he doesn't want to be viewed as a wishy-washy person, and I understand. But I'd take him back with open arms. My family definitely would as well. It's his decision. I hope he doesn't rely on other people. Um, he says that he gets sad sometimes, and I said, do you have your up and downs? He's like, yeah. And I understand that. Um, I would move to Idaho for him. He doesn't believe me, but I would. And not move to Idaho for a relationship. I'd move to Idaho to build the relationship. Even if it's dating in Idaho, only dating. I would build it up to prove to him that I'm different, that I've changed, that everything will work out. It's I just want a clean slate. I hope he thinks things through still sometimes. I hope he doesn't think things are mind games that I tell him, because that's just a defensive wall, saying I can't deal with it. Mind game. It's very easy, mind game, to say that like that. He viewed the letter a little bit as a mind game, apparently. If I remember correctly, maybe my memory's shit right now. It's water. It's not spiced. Well, it's late. Anywho, I want that clean slate. I'm not saying I deserve it, but I always view it as this way. Imagine if a stranger came into your life and somehow there was a book that had every bad thing that you ever did. Every bad thing that Kyle did to me, or everything I did to him, and it was in one book. And here's a stranger, and they're looking through it, and they're going, who the fuck is it? How bad is this person? I'd, I just want that clean slate. It's like burning the book. It doesn't exist anymore. You're starting fresh, you're starting new. And we never gave ourselves that opportunity. And, it's immensely stressful to me. Because I want to prove to him, I'm not demanding his affections or his trusts. I want to earn it. I don't want to take the easy road and say, okay, put the ring back on, and I want to earn it there. I want to earn it. I love him, care for him deeply. I want that clean slate. I want him to think about it really damn hard. Because what we had was special and unique. And he may deny it. He might say, oh, it was puppy love, but it wasn't puppy love. With the amount of shit that we went through, with the amount of fights the small stupid fights, the times that, he was jealous of the Instagram photos on my phone. Those feelings aren't feelings of puppy love. Those are feelings about jealousy and anger and passion that comes with commitment, not puppy love. Puppy love dies too quick. Not a year and a half. It doesn't take a year and a half for puppy love to fade. Puppy love, you do it, you're done kind of mentality. But what I want is a clean slate. I wanna I want to prove to him that I'm different, that I have changed, that I will work for the future that we both deserve, and I want to prove to him that I can make him feel special and unique without throwing cars at him, that maybe stealing flowers from my neighbor and making a bouquet of them can just feel just as special to him as, maybe a fancy dinner. You know, I just want a clean slate. Just want a clean slate. Start fresh, start from the beginning. All I can ask for.